Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Knitting Today at the Stitchin Post. And I hope you all can hear me and see me and are all well and having fun. Today, I want to show one of our newest yarns we've got here. And Val knows how excited I am about this for a couple of reasons. One, it's Berroco yarn, and for those who know me, I love the company Berroco. They're just a great company to deal with. This is one of my favorite yarns from them. It's Ultra Alpaca. We have 17 colors that came in. I have to tell you, we're sold out of some already. We're going to reorder, such as cream. In a little bit, I'm going to explain how you can get some if you don't see a color here you like, but that's a little bit later. So what I wanted to talk about and why we brought in Ultra Alpaca, one, because we like the yarn. It is a 50-50 wool alpaca blend. It's 219 yards for $14. It's knit, it is a full worsted knit on a US 8. If you're really loose, I'd take it to a 7. If you want a sweater coat, which I'm going to show you, we're going to knit it on a 6 because it's going to give a really nice texture, a little bit firmer, not going to stretch, going to show off those cables. So the sweater I am knitting now, if we can get a close-up, is called Pitch. I fell in love with this sweater about a year ago when it first came out, and I have got to knit this. And we didn't have yarn that I really wanted to use to knit in it. So over the course of the year, I wanted to do it as a knit along. It is a big project. We are going to start here as a knit along Friday, August 21st. And we're going to find a way how you all at home can possibly sign up for the class, but meet with me a different way, maybe on Zoom or another way on Fridays. So those who don't live in the area can also participate in this sweater knit along because I just think it's that spectacular of a project.
Just a quick side note, we are calling it a class because it's really important that people understand that there's a fee for this class because it's a series of classes.
Yes.
As opposed to a traditional knit along, which is
free
group event.
Well, so my other knit alongs are Wednesdays. We're going to do some other projects coming up for the holiday, all of which are some of them going to use Ultra Alpaca, and those will come out each month. And there'll be knit-alongs here on Wednesdays. So yes, this is an actual class. The first day is Friday, August 21st here at the store. But like I said, I want to offer this class, and we've been talking here, Diane, Val, and I. Diane is our education director, on how we can bring classes to those who don't live here or don't want to leave their homes. And so this is something we're discussing now. We have another week or two. But call me direct here at the store and I can discuss it with you as well. What makes this sweater so spectacular, and Val's going to want a close-up of this. Let me get to find the picture. Well, here's one. I love the cables and the seed stitch. But here, if you notice, and we got to get up close, these are the cables starting, and then they're called traveling cables, and they go off to the side with a rib in between. Now, I know this sweater pattern is called advanced, but I want to show you it is not. Why isn't it? Well, it isn't because it's pretty basic in its cables. And again, I want to show you I am using my markers.
So where
again,
are you in the sweater?
I'm going to show you in a second, but I want to show the flight of stitch markers. We know these are my favorite from Coco Knits, and I'm using the little ones. Now, you can buy these separately, but I like the whole pack, to be honest. And again, it's $26. I am, if we look at this back sweater, I am right here. Yeah, at below her bottom. So here is my ribbing from here to here. Notice the cable pattern starts at the bottom. Now, this is charted, but what's really cool about this is it's a 6-row repeat. And you know from cables, either you hold the yarn in front or you hold it in back, and it's the same repeat going all the way up. So it's relatively easy. This is the moss stitch. Why I like moss is it's the same stitch. So if you knit one, purl one on the front, you're going to knit the knits and purl the purls on the back. And then you're going to offset it. So if you started with a knit one, purl one, the next right side row is a purl one, knit one. So again, it's easy. So hopefully next week, well, probably in 2 weeks, I'll show you the traveling cables, and we'll talk about what that looks like. But I don't know, Val can't see it, but it just makes this beautiful fabric. It's a little denser. I am on a size 6 needle as opposed to an 8. But I love, love, love Ultra Alpaca. Val's feeling it because it's just squishy. It's a beautiful, beautiful yarn to work with. I like the halo. I like the texture. I like everything. So that's my pitch for pitch sweater. The other sweater, and there are a lot of you who don't want to make a complicated sweater, and this has to be one of my favorite sweaters from Berroco. It is a free pattern. Nora Gahn is the designer. I love Nora. She designs great. She was Berroco's lead designer for many, many years. This is just your classic go-to cardigan. It does not close in the front. It is open. I am going to show the schematic on it. And if you think about this as your first sweater and that it's really just 5 scarves, that's all it is. Now, it does have shaping in the back and the front. You do not need to do this waist shaping if you don't care to. It's straight garter. It goes together really easy. Call me for sweater quantities. I will tell you, don't need as much as what they say here. It's beautiful, and again, it's a garter stitch straight knit. So it could be your first sweater. If you've never done a sweater, go for it. You will be really, really pleased with it and something you will wear forever. So a technique I wanted to show today is an I-cord, and I wanted to show it 2 different ways. Why do we have an I-cord? Well, an I-cord is a great way to bind off. So if you are making a shawl, a lot of times summer's right now, mid-August, coming up into that late July, you want something light and airy to knit. We're not ready for a full fall sweater to make, but you don't like the edge because the edge is going to curl, and you want something with a little weight to it that'll just kind of hold down the bottom of a shawl. An I-cord bind off is really good. So again, going back to my cast on bind off book, which I hope you all have bought now, and if not, please do, because throughout this whole rest of this year, I am going to be using this. So we have different bind offs here. This is considered a decorative bind off. So if I flip over here to my I-cord bind off, and I'm going to explain how to get this look. And then I'm going to teach you how to do a regular I-cord. So I have just put 15 or 16 stitches on. I did a little bit of garter on the bottom to hold it flat. I'm in stockinette. This doesn't matter whether you were in stockinette or ribbing or anything, you can still put an I-cord on. So here we go. On the right side, now I taught a number of weeks ago how to knit on stitches. We are going to knit on 3 stitches. Now you can do an I-cord any weight you want, and by weight I mean the roll. You could put on 4 or 5 stitches and make it really bulky. 2 stitches is going to be a little too tiny to show, so I usually start with 3. So I'm going to cast on by knitting on 3 stitches. There's 1, 2, and the last one 3. And here we go. So those are my extra stitches. And now what the I-cord's going to do is going to keep rolling to the back. I am going to knit 1 and take it off. Knit 2, notice I am knitting normal. And now I'm going to knit the last stitch I cast on, or the first stitch, with the first stitch of my knitting, and I'm going to knit 2 together through the back loop. And pull that through. Now I have 3 stitches on my right needle, and I am going to just slip them over. Notice I have not changed the orientation of how they lie on the needle. But now if you look, my yarn is in the back, in the middle of those. I am going to pull it taut, almost tight, from there and knit again the first stitch, the second stitch, and knit 2 together through the back loop. Slip them back over to the side, to the left side. And repeat. Again, there's my yarn. I'm wrapping it, yanking this over taut. Look how hard I'm pulling it. And I'm going to knit the first stitch, second stitch, knit 2 together through the back loop, and put them back to the left needle. And if you notice, can you start to see there's my I-cord?
Oh,
and
cool.
It's going to look, once I get a little farther, the same on the front and the back. So let me do a few more. It's really neat to watch it come. And again, you're always closing that hole with knit 2 together through the back loop. Slip them back over. And knit again. So it isn't the fastest knit off, I will agree. If you have 300 or 400 stitches on the bottom of a shawl. But look at what you get. Look how nice that looks at the bottom. What a great finish. And again, here's the back side. You don't get a curl.
Okay.
So if I lie it flat, you see how it's...
Yeah. Interesting.
Are there any questions?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, goody. Because now, what else can we use an I-cord for? Exactly. She beat me to it. So here I have started one. So I cast on at the bottom 3 stitches. Any cast on you like. knit on, long tail, doesn't matter. I would cut this normally, but I'm on one skein of yarn here. Again, I started knitting my first row, and this is just straight knitting. And you can do this 3, 5, 6, 4, however many stitches. And notice I'm putting a little yank down here. Once I've knit those 3, and I'm using double points, you just slide it back to the front.
I love I-cords.
Again, here's my yarn on the whoop. Of course, don't do what I just did. Isn't this where you say, do as I say, not as I do? Mm-hmm. Again, the yarn is in the back. That was the stitch I knit last. I am yanking it to be to the first. And
It makes like a tube.
it does.
So if you do it bigger, like let's say you had 10 stitches on.
You could, and you would get a much larger tube for it. But again, part of it you want to yank from behind because you want to close that hole. We are wrapping. We want to make it come all the way around.
I love I-cord.
And I-cord can be a drawstring on a hoodie if you're making
It could be the
a little
foundation
coat.
of a garland.
It can be the foundation of a garland or like pom-poms that we're going to put on them. On it. So there's lots of things you can do with I-cord. I like it as a drawstring in little children's little pants. I showcased little pants for a little child we did out of the Sidar Sublime yarn, and we used an I-cord in the casing. You can use it on a skirt Val is talking about, that she'd made a skirt. You can't ask us for the pattern because she hasn't found it yet.
Braided.
And that one is a braid, but you could also use an I-cord for it. So there's lots of reasons why we use an I-cord. There is in here, and another day I'll show you how to do an I-cord cast on, because there is one where then it would match. I have not used that at the bottom of a sweater, for instance, for that, but if you were doing a top-down sweater, which I know a lot of you are knitting currently because I've gotten some phone calls on it, you could, instead of just binding off in pattern, you could put an I-cord at the bottom and put a little detail on it, or do it in a different color even and add color to it. So it makes for a fun detail, I should say, on it. So that is kind of my show today. The last thing I want to leave you with is Val and I discussed, or really Val, because we love Ultra Alpaca so much, and the pitch sweater takes anywhere between 8 and 10, if not 13 skeins. So really I've said 10 skeins at 219 yards. So if there is a color that you see that we do not carry online, you can buy the entire bag from us for $140. They have so many colors, and over time we might get more colors, but this is what we started for. I did pick colors for this sweater, and I picked some also for the holiday coming up. And I think I forgot we have this green, or we did have that green. I think I've sold out already of it. This is the cream. It's called Winter White. I did just sell it all out, so I don't have a skein here. A woman wants to make a blanket, and it is a beautiful yarn for a blanket. And we have a book here, a building and color book from Skacel, actually, that uses different blocks, and she's going to use a different pattern for every block. Nikki Epstein also has a book out that does block by block colors that you could use one color or buy 10, 12 different colors and make an Afghan where every block is different. So there's lots of things.
Striped sweater.
You could do a striped sweater with it. It's just a really soft, cozy, comfy yarn. It is hand wash lie flat, so I will tell you it is not a super wash. We do have a yarn from Berroco Ultra Wool coming in September probably that will be a super wash worsted weight yarn that's gorgeous. I will showcase it here. We're in the process of getting that out for later. I really like this yarn for this pitch sweater, so I hope you'll join me in doing that and that you'll keep watching, look at my older videos, and like us on Facebook, please. We love hearing the comments. I try to get to you all every evening after the show if you have comments or questions. And have a great day. Again, stay safe. Wear those masks when you go out, please, and enjoy your day. Bye, all.
Bye, everyone.